In a world wrought with devastation, two unite into one to form a superior combination. One white, one black. This is their story of the anime aspect.
Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of the Anime Aspect. I am Matt Swagger, and I have with me, you probably know him from our other show, the Rogues Gallery, Brave Dave.
Yo, what's up?
And we're here to talk about anime. You know, in all my otaku, I know how passionate we all are about anime, manga, and, you know, just the phrase otaku, how that has a meaning to us, being such super fans of something that we really love, the art style.
I have no idea what that means, by the way. And let's explain to the audience how this is going to work. Matt knows everything about anime. I know very little about anime.
Dave, you know, dabbles in it from time to time. Right. I've been a huge fan of anime since I can remember. Since, you know, I'm sure everyone's seen Speed Racer growing up.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm sure that's probably been a lot of people's first anime. You know, if you grew up in the late '80s, early '90s.
For me, it was.
It was mine.
Speed Racer. But that was before I knew what anime was.
And I didn't know anime either. We were kids. We just thought it was a cool cartoon that sometimes the words didn't match the lips. Yeah. And, you know, going from there, I caught Sailor Moon. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. My favorite part of Sailor Moon is when they used to do the transformations. They were kind of like nude and shit. And I was like, 10 years old, and I was like
ooh.
you're just getting exposed like a boob or something like that, that kind of thing.
And that was a children's show.
Yeah.
But it was a great show. And still, I didn't know what that was. I know it was something that wasn't a traditional American show, even, in my early stages of youth. And that's what fascinated me, because it wasn't the bland, generic, same thing that's done over and over.
Yeah. So
that's what caught my eye. And, as time passed on and, Dragon Ball Z came,
I think Dragon Ball Z was I think the gateway, kind of like the gateway drug for most Americans in terms of their introduction to anime. Because listen, obviously Akira was like the wake up call for a lot of people, but that was more like a very niche thing. Like, okay, you were like in college and everyone like had like this tape kind of thing that was going around of Akira.
Yeah.
And I was young at that time when Akira came out, but I knew of people who kind of grew up watching it, and like I say, it was a very kind of like inside kind of thing.
Yeah,
but Dragon Ball Z, and this was before Cartoon Network and Toonami. This was when it debuted on Channel 11.
Yes.
And they were playing it like early on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
That to me was the real introduction for anime to on a wide scope for most Americans.
It's true. It's like something you never seen before.
Right.
It had everything you could think of: aliens, other kind of creatures. You have pigs that could talk, dogs that could talk and walk. And it's looked at as commonplace.
And the aesthetic.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, wow, what is this? Like, I wasn't really used to that kind of drawing style, and at that time, I was on, my Jim Lee high.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, like, all right, so Matt was, big into anime. I was more into like traditional comics, cartoons, and that kind of stuff. I had very little exposure to anime. So for me to see that style of drawing from Dragon Ball Z, it was very intriguing to me. I was like, this looks fucking cool as hell.
On top of the animation style, you have the large eyes, the wacky hair, the different colors.
Right.
You have the great stories, the characters that you fall in love with, and they just keep developing and continue to grow with the story. And the thing about Dragon Ball Z that makes it what it is today, even after 30 years, we have 30 years of Dragon Ball as a franchise.
Crazy? Is that nuts?
It's incredible. And we just celebrated a year of Dragon Ball Super. It just had its 50th episode, and the nostalgia that I have from being able to recount on every episode of Dragon Ball Z and seeing it redone as Kai and the edited versions before Funimation took it over. Seeing it grow and develop, becoming more stronger, more popular, even after 30 years, it's incredible. It's a show that transcends, generations, time, boundaries, borders, and that's what opened the doors for other anime to become successful. Following Dragon Ball is not an easy thing.
No.
So for any anime to come after and to be successful and to be loved and characters to be loved and cherished is great, and I'm happy to had other shows that have been favorites of mine as Bleach, Full Metal Alchemist, Hellsing, Samurai X, Rurouni Kenshin. That's a little.
I never got into any of those.
They're
I mean, Bleach has been popular for a long time. I've heard a lot of people talk about it, but I've never, and to be fair, I've never actually sat down and give it a chance.
You definitely should, and
I will now. Be like this show. Well, and let me just explain to everyone what the goal of this show is: to kind of educate people who haven't really fully jumped into the pool of anime, especially for a guy like me. So this show is going to be a journey for a guy like me. So a lot of this stuff is, it might be 10 years, 20 years old for guys like you and for some of the audience out there. But for a guy like me, it's going to be an introduction for a guy like me.
It's still new.
Yeah, and which is great. And that's the thing, because when we talk about something that's made with quality, it should be able to last a lifetime. You should be able to watch Dragon Ball Z 20 years from now.
Definitely, and same thing goes with Cowboy Bebop, another classic.
See, I was a huge fan of Cowboy Bebop. Okay, so God bless Toonami.
Yeah.
I mean, thank you, Cartoon Network, for Toonami.
It's still
Toonami
on.
It was huge.
And it's still on.
I mean, I was a big fan of like I said, Dragon Ball Z I was a big fan of that show. My favorite anime has to be Cowboy Bebop. I love it. Also, I was a big fan of the spin-off. Well, not really a spin-off, but when they did Samurai Champloo, I was a big fan of that.
That was another great short anime. Right. It was, like it says in its name, Champloo. It's a mixture of cultures and of, different styles. The animation was great. I remember when I went to Anime Next, I believe 2005, they were giving a screening of new episodes that didn't premiere yet on Toonami. So I got to watch it in its raw form, subtitled of course, but it was just a show that it had you hooked instantly, and shame that it had to have such a short run. But some anime, some stories don't need a lot of time to get their story across.
I wanted to ask you about that because, and just to kind of revert back to Dragon Ball Z, for me personally, I think one of the things that hurt me for Dragon Ball Z was I just thought it ran a little too long. I love the fact that both Samurai Champloo and Cowboy Bebop had a short run. Because Cowboy Bebop was one season or?
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
it definitely wasn't more than two, but I believe it was one season, and then they had the movie.
Yeah.
That was that was before maybe the last 2 to 3 episodes. But I love the fact that it was a short series. I mean, I love Dragon Ball Z, but after a while, I got kind of tired of it because it became too much. It became too formulaic for me.
Well,
it was always to be a new threat, and then it would be 100 episodes before you had the final duel. I just can't do it again.
Well, this is the thing. In the past, when the manga and the anime got close together, you had to have some episodes that call filler. So you have things that are just thrown in there. They'll make the episodes and the fights drag out longer, so they can draw more chapters of the manga and get that out. Because for some reason in the past, they never wanted the manga and anime to be close together.
Right.
But now with Super, I think that's the opposite. I think both are very closely, regulated. They're both coming out at the same time, which makes it a lot easier for the studios, because that's another gripe. People don't want to see the filler. People don't want to see things dragged out. The thing how I feel with it, I don't mind fight scenes getting dragged out over episodes. It kind of leaves you wanting more, because now when you look at Super, if you're watching Super, things seem a little rushed from what my experience used to be. Right. Enemies are introduced rather quickly, and they're even spoiled in the previews for the next episode. And especially what's going on now in Super, this new enemy that Goku's facing, someone from an alternate timeline in the future, probably an alternate universe, that has Goku's body, in a sense. They call him Black Goku, because he's this evil interpretation of Goku. You know, a lot of people have in their speculations, their theories on who Black really is. If Black is, you know, a Kaioshin from another universe using Goku's dead body from the future when he died from the heart virus. So those are a lot of things that are going on right now. But everything's getting introduced so quickly, and it's like the episode goes so fast. And you're like, wow, I really want to see more. So that's what I'm kind of missing. Right. I would love to see something maybe on a more than one time a week basis.
So you're looking for, I think what you're asking for is more of a happy medium. Like, you don't necessarily want it to go back to the filler.
No fillers.
But you want it to at least expand a little bit more.
I want it, yes.
See, and the thing is, though, as you were saying that, it reminded me that we're living in a much different time from when that show, when the original shows were produced. Nowadays, because of the rise of, you know, cable television, and you have shows on streaming platforms like, you know, Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu. Those streaming services, they can't afford to do fillers.
No.
That's why, like, see, on network television, they make their money on the advertisers, so they want to produce anywhere from like 20 to 25 episodes, whether it's a sitcom, a drama series, because that's how they make their money. Cable, they don't have the luxury of having the budgets that they have on network television. So that's why, you know, for shows like, you know, Sopranos, Sons of Anarchy, they'll have like an 8 to 10 episode order, in a sense. But now you have, you know, kids and just people now who are used to more of that streaming service model. Like, okay, well, you're giving us 10 episodes, but it has to be 10 episodes about what's relative to the storyline, and not just like, okay, you remember when back in 2001 or 2, I think it was 2001 when like Smallville started.
Yeah.
I love season 1 of Smallville, but what got tiring of that show was just when it just became more about the freak of the week. You know what I mean? Like, I really wanted to pay attention. I thought the show was at its best within the first few seasons, where it really focused on the growth of the character, and not just like, all right, here's another freak of the week, because you already knew what was going to happen.
That's true.
But that was filler. And you don't want that from Dragon Ball Z.
No, I don't.
You just want them to elaborate a little bit more on the story that they're telling you.
Yeah, we all know Goku loves to train. We know Goku loves to fight. He gets excited about the thought of someone being stronger than him, because he wants to prove his worth. He wants to show that he can, you know, surpass everyone, and it's fun for him. It's not a chore. He's not afraid of fighting, and he's not afraid of dying. He's done it several times, you know, at his own, you know, will, to sacrifice for his family, his friends, and the planet. We all know that. We get it. We want to see more for the story to keep continuing to grow, other than him, you know, playing a fool and just training and then fighting some big bad. We all know he's going to win.
Right.
We want to see more.
It's the journey. you want to see the journey.
For Super to continue and to be successful as its predecessor, we need to see a lot of action, of course, but the story to go with it, but not in a style that it's going to be rushed, and that we're given things quickly and it ends quickly.
Right.
And then we're just thrown into another arc. Like, the arc just finished with, you know, the tournament between Universe 6 and Universe 7. Then we go into, all right, Goku's training with Vegeta for a little bit. Here comes Beerus and Whis. They're going to eat in Earth. And then now we have this new threat. We have Trunks from the future coming back again. But now Trunks' hair is blue. It used to be purple. It's blue. His whole outfit changed, everything. It's like, but he's still the same Trunks that came from the future during the Cell Saga. But yet, the timeline is still different. Like, if Cell was defeated, the androids were defeated, Majin Buu was defeated, how is Goku still dead in the future from the heart virus when he was cured?
Right.
So I'm kind of thinking that this is an alternate future, and somehow this is going to be, you know, rectified in the show. correct me if I'm mistaken, but I don't think it's the current timeline, because certainly Goku is alive and well in the present. He didn't die from the heart virus. Goku, in fact, defeated Majin Buu, but they showed Trunks defeating all of them before Majin Buu was even released. So it has to be an alternate future. So for people thinking it's a direct timeline from 17 years, it's not. It's an alternate past and future.
But how do you feel about that though?
Like
do you feel like you're being cheated in a sense?
I don't understand why they made his hair blue. If they're trying to go for he'll never be a Super Saiyan blue, that he's gonna have blue hair now. They change. It's like they retconned him, because even Bulma said, "Oh, when his spaceship came, the time machine, oh, is he a boy with blue hair?" So they're trying to make it like he always had blue hair. Yeah. So they kind of doing the American thing, retconning, and which is like, I hate that.
We on our other podcast, the Rogues Gallery, we've talked many times about retcons and reboots, and as a consumer of this kind of shit, I always feel like I'm cheated. Because if I'm buying I don't care if I'm buying a comic book, a manga, I'm watching a cartoon, whatever. Whatever. Like, I'm investing time, I'm investing money. If this is the story, okay, this is the story that's presented to me. Don't come back a year later and say, well, this never happened. I feel cheated. What the fuck is that?
It's highway robbery, because this is their way of saying, you know what, we don't have any other ideas that we can come up with original characters.
Right.
And, talking on the American side, we're having all these things going on. We have a new Iron Man, which is a 15-year-old black girl.
Yeah.
That's Iron Man. Yeah.
Not
Iron
sense.
Woman.
Yeah.
It's Iron Man and
Lady Iron.
I'm so for having characters that are diverse, that are from different backgrounds in life and in the world, but give them an originality, create them, make them.
It's a cheat, because what we're getting is a hand-me-down.
It's the company's way of saying, you know what, we want to be in on this whole big thing now of everyone has to be represented, which is, that's the way life is. Okay, but create a character solely for that purpose, not just replace a character. You do this with Captain America, Spider-Man. You have a black Spider-Man, or a half. You have Miles Morales, half Spanish, half black, and you have the new Iron Man, which is a black woman.
The new female Thor.
A female Thor. So you're having all your bases covered. They're just missing a gay character, an LGBT.
Right.
So
and again, like I said, we're definitely all for diversity.
Yeah.
I want these things. I think it's a beautiful thing, but as a person of color, if you can't tell by my voice,
no, I haven't noticed. I don't see color.
Well, you gotta listen to our intro. Anyway, no, but seriously, I do feel cheated when, okay, as a person of color, am I supposed to feel good about the fact that you made the new Iron Man a black teenage girl? No,
it should bother you.
Create an original character.
Character.
What they don't want to do is they don't want to take the risk.
No.
But that's what all this shit is, right? It's all risk.
But the thing is with the risk, if you create a character and it doesn't work out, you just kill him off like they did Jason Todd.
Right.
And then they wind up bringing him back anyway, and he's quintessential in the DC universe as the Red Hood. If you swapping out characters that have such long history in the comic book world, if you actually read comics, not people that hop on Facebook and comment because this and that, you actually have to read comics and understand characters. Yes, they change, sometimes the mantle's handed over, that's acceptable, but when you're just downright lazy and you have no other way to introduce a diverse character into a story, you just have to say, okay, we're just gonna make Iron Man a woman. Not even, it's a girl, it's a teenager. Why would you want to put someone of that age in harm's way? She has from what I know, she don't have any superpowers. You just stick her in an armor suit and want her to fight because Tony don't want to do it anymore right now. Right. He's taking a sabbatical.
He lost his smile.
He's sad because Cap is Hydra.
Old Bret Hart reference there. But
Shawn Michaels lost his smile. So
I don't know, man. I just think again, I don't have a problem with her being an Iron Man suit of a kind. I just wanted them to create an original character.
you just
I honestly like, all right, this is an anime podcast. You can hear all this kind of stuff on the Rogues Gallery. But
so we're making a reference
Right.
about seeing anime doing a form of retcon. It's
Right.
not a full blown thing.
Right.
It's just they changed his appearance, they changed his hair color.
Right.
Okay, leave it at that. I don't want to see someone else come back and say I'm Trunks. It looks nothing like him.
Right, exactly.
Trunks comes back. He's orange and he's got green hair
I
instead.
don't want anime falling victim to that American
You know,
model
but-
of just trying to like change stuff just because they have no other way of doing. Like if you had no real, if you couldn't find a way to really continue Dragon Ball story, then don't do it.
Yeah,
You know.
because what makes anime and manga so successful is because it's already diverse. You have
Right.
people of all shapes, sizes, colors,
It's also kind of like
demographics.
genderless sometimes.
Yeah,
if you think
it's
about
very
it, like,
ambiguous. You don't know if a character is male, female. Like Frieza, for example, swear Frieza's a woman, but it's a guy. But
Yeah.
especially how they voice him in Japanese, that very soft voice.
Remember the
It's kind of like a girl.
remember the villain in G-Force Battle of the Planets. Like as a kid, I was confused. I was like, is that a woman or a dude? Like, cause you're talking like a dude, but dude, that lipstick is on fleek. Like, what's going on there? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I listen again. I'm not gonna pretend like I have the knowledge for anime that you have, but I watch my fair share, and there are some things I like. I like the fact that they don't really look at race and color and gender the same way we do in America. Like,
No, not at all.
they're a lot more open to new ideas, which I think is cool.
If
Like,
you know Japanese culture, it's very, very lax compared to America. A lot of countries, even Europe, everything is much more relaxed,
Right.
not as uptight. Like they show sex in commercials.
it's not like all taboo and shit. Like,
Yeah, it's exactly. You should be proud of who you are, your body, everything like that. You shouldn't be shamed or ashamed of yourself for looking a certain way. You're here for a short amount of time. Be happy. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Do you. And that's a great thing about anime. It represents everybody. Everybody can have a character that they can relate to, that they can be emotionally invested in, and you can't say that a lot for American cartoons.
Right.
When I watch anime, and I could just get totally lost in it, especially if you're doing your binge watching, and like if you want to catch up on older shows like Brave Day is going to be doing, you have that great ability to watch one after another after another, and
I mean,
you want more, and you just don't want to stop, and it just takes you away from reality, especially now with all the crap that's going on. Anime is a great thing to help you escape and to forget about what's going on around you.
that's what this all is. It's escapism. I mean,
Damn
listen.
right.
I mean, I lump all this shit together. Anime, comic books.
Yeah, I love it
cartoons.
too.
Well, it's all like it's all the same shit. Let's just be honest. The problem with the American comic book industry is like, man, this like 70 years at this point. Like, you're still reading stories about square chin white guys. You know what I mean? And and that's great for someone like Matt here because that he can relate. No, and I'm not even trying to take a shot, but it's one of those things like, do we really? I think what's his name? Mark Millar recently made a comment about that because they're doing like another Kick-Ass series, and this time
it's
somebody
a girl,
a black girl.
Yeah.
And Mark Millar said himself, like, do we really need another story about a 30-year-old, a white guy? Like, you really don't.
No.
You know what I mean? And I mean, there's so many different kind of people that you could just base stories on in this world. But again, these comic book industries, like, they're so focused on reaching that one demographic. And the one thing I can really appreciate by anime, like, is that I've met people from all walks of life.
Oh yeah.
From all different kind of demographics that are into anime.
Oh yeah. It's back in the day when anime was more of an underground thing, like bodybuilding any other kind of like you might have had that was seen
niche,
as
right. Yeah.
a bad thing for you to be liking or whatever. You were judged, you were bullied and made fun of, whatever. It's something that made a community for a lot of people, you could say.
Right.
Especially when anime conventions came to be. And that was a medium for fans of anime, manga, otaku, which is, like a fan. It's the word fan in Japanese. You're obsessed, you're a fanatic.
Oh shit, that's what it means. All right.
Yeah, man.
Now I've learned something.
Otaku.
On today's show.
And if you're an otaku and you get to hang out with others like you get to cosplay. I mean, cosplay was just before it was glorified and you wasn't spotlighted on the major companies and it wasn't promoted on Good Morning America, and it was something that you did that you were called a freak for, or you're stupid. I'm glad to see where it is today. And,
it's
and
great.
now the same people that said stupid and then you're an idiot are the same people that are doing it because they want to become a model and they want to be photographed and make money off it.
Shout out to Instagram.
Yeah. And there's some people that solely got into the anime business because they look sexy in a Pikachu outfit.
Right.
And now they're making money out of their ass. Other people that are actually passionate about things have to work hard, scrape and claw for things. And it's just handed to other people because they did the right thing at the right time.
Right.
So that's how the world has changed. From being inside a closet to being open and proud and glorified. I'm glad to see anime and things, happen for the better for it.
You know what? Another interesting thing too is like, there have been like a lot of artists of color, especially within the black community, that have embrace anime a lot too. Now, some of these guys who are doing their own books, indie books, they've adopted.
Yeah, they incorporated it into their style. Yeah, and
I remember, years ago there was like a small little, I think it was called, I forgot what the name of the book was, but the guy was calling his style ghetto manga.
Ghetto manga.
You know what I mean? But it's like, dude, I know like a ton of like black artists that have incorporated that style. I mean, even he's an American artist, but Kerry Randolph. He's a great artist.
Oh yeah.
When you look at his style, it's heavily influenced by anime. Also, LaShawn Thomas, who went on to do the design, the concept art for the Boondocks cartoon series. When you look at the Boondocks,
it's heavily
dude,
inspired by manga.
Those eyes and come on, man, like
it's basically an American anime.
Right. And, but this is what I'm talking about in a sense. Like, I feel like guys like that, and there's been a ton of other guys, right? Guys like that who grew up in America, probably they got into comics, but they never really saw themselves represented in a certain way.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting that they decided to adopt a style from a whole other country. Yeah, and that just shows me the impact that manga anime had in their lives. I mean, that's crazy. Like, think about this, right?
Yeah.
I think Kerry Randolph grew up in Boston, or he might have been in New York but went to school in Boston, something like that. And LaShawn Thomas grew up in the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
Japan is a long trip away from the Bronx. You know what I mean? But the fact that it had an impact on him, I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And there was I forgot the name of the other series, but again, man, there's just like a ton of young artists who are now embracing that manga anime style, and I think it's cool as fuck.
I do too, and I just think it looks better than some American animation. Like DC, you can't really top DC when it comes to their animated movies and things like that.
Oh, they're great.
Marvel,
their live action should need some work, but
that's true.
Their animation department's on point.
Marvel needs to take note of that on their animated side. Right. When you're drawing a character, you should draw it the same for all your platforms, not have the character look different because he's on one show and then have him look different on the other. It makes no sense. Right. Be consistent with your animation. When it comes to anime, everything just looks superior, and it's amazing to look at the way the smallest detail can just bring out the biggest picture, and it just makes you just fall in love with the way everything looks. I just, let's take Samurai X. Beautiful, beautiful anime. It was very colorful, very just well animated, and it just took you on a visual journey, and it was just like watching a beautiful feudal romance, and you don't really see that on American television.
Well, anime, one thing I noticed, especially more in the cinematic end, just because they have more the budget for it, is the attention to detail.
Yeah.
I was just watching, God, what was it called again? I told you I just watched it like a week ago.
What, the movie, The Boy and the Beast?
No, I didn't watch that one yet.
Okay.
The one, Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
Beautiful, another great one.
And I told some people, I just watched it. They looked at me. They're like, "You finally just watched that?"
It's like almost 20 years.
Right. And I've seen a little bit before on cable back in the day. Like,
but which Ghost in the Shell? Was it the standalone complex?
The original one.
Oh, the original Ghost in the Shell.
It's actually on Hulu if you want to watch it.
Oh, I love Ghost in the Shell. Used to watch it when it was on Toonami.
But yeah, there was such an attention to detail. The quality is a little bit different in terms of like, it wasn't the show. The movie wasn't produced in like high definition or anything like that, but I could still see the attention to detail.
Yeah.
Like with all like the background.
Very meticulous.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by that.
Yeah.
I'll give anime some credit in terms of like just embracing the different cultures, and they were never afraid to even put like a female character in the lead.
Oh no.
Like, dude, we still have that issue in American comics.
I know.
It's 2016 and that's still an issue.
You have so many animes where you have a strong female lead.
Right.
And I can just go and say Soul Eater. You have even Bleach. Bleach had very strong female characters in it.
Right.
Dragon Ball, you have Bulma.
Right.
You have Chi-Chi.
Right.
Strong women. Husbands are afraid to death of them, and they're the most powerful beings in the universe. Afraid to death of them.
Yeah.
So come on. You got to look at this and say, why can't we do it here? But Japan can do it and does it so well.
And you know what? And I think that is why, we're seeing more and more people embracing it and incorporating it into their own artwork and kind of making it their own. I kind of feel like anime invites you to make it your own.
Yeah.
Like it's funny, right? Because when you go to a comic book convention, you'll always see like when, let's say like you're walking through artist alley. That's where they have all the artists and
people looking to get pictures and autographs and stuff commissioned for them.
And what happened? This is what always happens. And there was actually an artist that wrote about this on social media last year. He was offended that whenever people would walk by the black tables, the tables that had black artists or black creators, people would kind of be hesitant to approach the table or kind of just walk by, basically ignoring them. And I don't know what it is, man, but like, and the sad thing is I've done the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I am a person of color. I am black, but even sometimes I go to conventions and I'll see a black artist. I'm like, he's probably just making like a just fucking black ripoff of a character. Like it's fucked up that I'm saying that.
Yeah,
and one of the other co-hosts of the Rogues Gallery, our other show, Captain Quagmire, is guilty of doing the same shit.
Oh shit, man.
Now, over the years, I've gotten a lot better about that. I started going to these tables and actually buying their books. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Just like anything else. Just because you're white or black doesn't mean like, okay, your book is going to be of some quality. But I think it's weird because we're like, Americans who are fans of comics, we're almost conditioned to look down on like black heroes. Or when somebody just wants to put out a book with a black protagonist.
Yeah.
It's fucked up that I'm saying this, but this is real. And you know what? And on this show, we're gonna be real.
Yeah, this is real as it gets, man.
Right, and when the more and more I started thinking about the way I used to behave at these conventions, I became embarrassed about it. I was like, man, that's fucked up. Like, I didn't even give this guy's book a chance, and I just kind of, I kind of glanced over, like, all right, well, now, and this is what we do, like, unless it was like a black artist working on a commercial book, yes, I would go up to him and like, someone like a Carrot Randolph and get his autograph.
Yeah.
Because he's working on a property that I'm a fan of, that I know.
Yeah,
but
it's reputable, yeah.
Right. In terms of...
This guy just drawing just to make money.
Drawing just to make money, has his own independent book, I wouldn't give it a chance. But this was me from 4 or 5 years ago. And then the last few years, I've been a lot better about that.
Yeah.
There's this creator, I think Brian Williams, has a book called The Harlem Shadow, which is a really good book. There was talks about them trying to make that into an animation and things like that. It's when I started noticing that you have a lot of black creatives now adopting the manga anime style, I felt like there were a lot more people willing to give them a chance. Because, I would go to conventions and just see what the foot traffic was like. Okay, who's going to what tables? And, people had their banners, the artwork, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I started seeing a lot more black creators, again, who were adopting that style. They had people at their tables interested. And I think it's because, historically, anime has always been more inviting than... And I'm embarrassed to say this, than American comics.
Well,
because
yes.
American comics has been pretty shitty towards other cultures, other races, gender, what I mean? That kind of shit. Like, it's almost very closed-minded.
It is, because, again, this country is very uptight. Everybody is now very overly sensitive, and everyone...
People are always sensitive. That's not a new thing.
I know. You see it more now.
Social media makes it more present.
Yeah.
But, dude, people were always fucking pussies that were ready to complain.
Yeah.
20 years ago, people were writing in letters talking about, please take off Married with Children off the network. Yeah, that's what was happening.
They're fucking nuts, because that's a great show.
That was a great show, but there were people who were literally offended by that show.
They'll write the 9-page letter. I know. Right.
So imagine if social media wasn't around back in '88 when that show started.
Oh, it'd be gone.
People are always going to be complaining. That shit is nothing new. But I like the fact that we have something like anime where people... I think the most important thing you can do in life is express yourself. Yeah. I don't care if you're white, black, Asian, Indian, transgender, whatever, that you have an outlet that you can express yourself and tell a story. Because at the end of the day, all we want is good stories, right?
Yeah, I don't want to hear shit no more. I'm tired of it.
Right.
I just want to live. I want to have fun, and I want to do great things. That's what should be on everybody's mind. Right. Not worrying about, what bad is going to happen today. Right. I don't want to think about that, and no one should.
I mean, the interesting thing is, like, all this stuff that we talk about is all escapism. Yeah. And we said it before. But through that escapism, they're still talking about things that are relative to our own lives. But it's interesting to see other characters going through a certain experience just to see how they handle it. Okay, put it like this. Peter Parker, what I've always liked about Spider-Man is, like, he's always had problems paying bills. I have problems paying bills.
Hey, join the club.
What I mean? Yeah. Exactly, right? But we can relate. Now, the fact that, the only thing that separates Peter Parker from us is the fact that, he's a superhero. Yeah. But his day-to-day problems are very similar to our own.
And it could have been easy for them to make him a villain with his powers. Right. He could rob banks and no one would know.
Right. But that shows the restraint of the character.
Yes, that's his. With great power comes great responsibility.
But that's what all this stuff is. Anime, whatever, like that. It's always going to be like an allegory to what's going on in our own lives. Yeah.
There's always a message. Right. Like with Full Metal Alchemist, it's a political message.
Right. Gundam Wing was very political.
Very political.
A lot of Dragon Ball Z, like, I mean, you as a viewer of Dragon Ball Z, you probably learn a lot about adversity.
Yeah, it teaches, especially if you're a young kid, growing up, it teaches you not to give up.
Right.
It teaches you that there's always someone that's going to stand up for what's right. You should you should be someone that has integrity and not just cower away because you don't think you can do it or you don't think you're good enough.
But isn't that the beautiful thing about animation is that I think why animation is such a great medium is because it, especially when you're an adult, right? Because, you kind of let your guard down.
Yeah.
Right? So, I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. And on his podcast, I remember once he was saying that to him, personally, his favorite superhero movie of all time is The Incredibles. And then when I thought about it, I was like, holy shit, he's right.
It's a great movie.
And actually, with my new job and all, I was actually watching it yesterday with the kids. And I was rewatching The Incredibles. And I was like, this is such a fucking great movie.
It is.
And, but it's a story about a family. I mean, you have the father who's literally going through a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
Now, our parents, I'm sure they had that point where they had a midlife crisis. Now, they didn't have superhero powers, but that's not the point of the story.
Yeah.
The point of the story is how they're dealing with it. But, I really, really enjoy that movie. And it really reminded me why animation is so powerful. A lot of this stuff is technically made for kids, but it should also be made for adults to be able to relate and appreciate it as well. And, one thing that anime has always been known for is that their demographic from very early on was really to adults. It really wasn't the kids. The kids thing was more of something that Disney was doing.
And it's done to death already.
Right.
So,
because even I think when in France, when animation was actually created, fucking years ago, I think it was also more for adults. It really wasn't for kids until Walt Disney came along and that kind of stuff, which is great. Don't get me wrong.
But kiddie stuff, you should have something that everyone can watch, and then some things, that should only be left for the adults to appreciate.
But anime does that.
Exactly.
Anime has something for everybody,
it does.
which is great.
If you want some gore and stuff, watch some Hellsing Ultimate.
Right.
If you want some happy-go-lucky stuff, watch Sailor Moon, and even the newer one, Sailor Moon Crystal. And you can.
There's a new one.
Yeah, they redid it. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Sailor Moon Crystal.
I had no idea.
On Crunchyroll.
Is it new?
It's new. I think a year or two now.
Shit. You remember they had the Sailor Moon festival last year in Central Park?
Yeah, I know.
That was. We didn't get to go that day because we went to another event, but there was 3 events in one day.
We were pretty stacked. Last year was a busy year for us. We just celebrated a year of the Rogues Gallery,
but it's kind of interesting the amount of people that showed up for the Sailor Moon event.
Oh,
and again, man,
and that's another show that's years and years, decades old.
Right, but I love that. I love that these things can still resonate. 10, 20, 30 years later.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's powerful. It's powerful. And
I watched the first episode of Dragon Ball Z. I wasn't introduced to Dragon Ball. I thought Dragon Ball Z was the beginning of that.
So did I.
It wasn't until later on I discovered there was Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball was good too. And
Dragon Ball Z to me, that was back in '96 when I saw that.
Yeah.
What fucking 20 years ago.
What a lot of people like about Dragon Ball is because it was more down to earth fighting. It was the world tournaments. It wasn't all these ki blasts and flying and teleporting and stuff like that. So a lot of people like that.
Tournaments like Pokemon or?
Nah, like the World Martial Arts Tournament, man. This Pokemon Go sensation you're trying to hint at? Yeah.
Was it so wait, was the original Dragon Ball a shorter series or how did it work?
It chronologized Goku as a baby coming up into his early teens. So if it went from him being baby, his journey to learning how to fight with, how they call him, the Venerable Master Roshi, however they want to call him in Japan. But it was a cool story, him fighting the Red Ribbon Army and Dr. Gero, and how that played.
Are we talking about hundreds of episodes like Dragon Ball Z was, or was it just
it was shorter than Z.
Okay.
But
I wouldn't mind trying to watch some of that stuff too.
Dragon Ball was cool. It had a lot. Yamcha was a thief. I don't know if you knew that. So Yamcha was like a thief back then, and
But Piccolo was like the main antagonist.
Piccolo was not the same Piccolo. He was the original Piccolo Dayamu. He was King Piccolo. He was evil.
You know what that reminded me of? Oh, okay, so like, this is how sad it was, like when you're a person of color, but like every
Piccolo, you're gonna say Piccolo's the black person,
dude,
though.
Every black person like, nah, man, Piccolo's black, son. Like,
Piccolo's the black guy.
Piccolo's the black. Like we had to get something. You know what I mean? Like that's how desperate my community was. You know, it's fucking sad. But.
You got Mr. Popo, man.
That was though, dude. That was the most inherently racist character. Like,
oh, Mr. Popo, come here.
That shit was.
Well, you don't like his big round donut lips,
dude. I'm surprised they even like allowed that shit on American television. Like that, it's like. I'm not one of those people that gets offended.
I think that's what
whatever.
they based the
I'm surprised
the Sultan
that,
from Aladdin on.
Oh God, probably. But I'm really surprised that character was allowed to like exist. Like,
yeah, that's the beauty of anime.
It's crazy, man.
But
that shit had me dying.
The original Piccolo was the evil incarnation of Kami. So Kami had to split his evil out, so he become god of Earth. And then Goku defeated him, and before he died, he laid an egg. He hatched an egg out of his mouth, which was an exact clone of himself, which became our Piccolo.
Yeah.
And Piccolo became heavily influenced by good, especially when he had to take care of Gohan after Goku sacrificed himself. So Piccolo was able to finally kill Goku when he was holding his brother Raditz. You know, even though he wasn't the way Piccolo wanted to kill Goku.
Yeah.
But I guess that satisfied him in a way, and he became good. He sacrificed himself for Gohan, and then he truly became, you know, a Z fighter, as they be known to be called.
Yeah.
And he just continued to grow. He merged with Nail on Namek, and then he fully merged again with Kami, becoming whole and becoming the Super Namek. Which pissed Vegeta off so bad when Cell came around that Piccolo was actually stronger than him. That was great. That was a great moment. He was so pissed. But Piccolo continuing to grow, but I don't think he's going to be growing anymore now in Super because the way...
So he's involved in a new series.
Oh, yeah. He's still there. He's like the nanny of Gohan's daughter, Pan.
Oh, jeez.
It's just, it's a horrible thing for him, but he likes taking care of her. He really knows how to do it. Goku has no fucking idea what to do, so... It's like, make sure you do this and don't let her wander. She likes to wander on her own, and kid can fly already, and she's like 1.
Yeah.
It's just so, but that's, to me, it's demeaning. Piccolo was a badass character, and now he's just a glorified nanny.
Yeah.
Because he can't stand a chance against anyone now.
Right.
Especially now there's other universes involved. There's a lot of strong people. Goku and Vegeta are on God level. Like, what's next?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, they've always kind of, you know, sold that character short.
I know.
Which is all the more reason why we all knew he was black. You know, just saying. Fuck.
Dude, they killed him off so quick again, and he died again in Super. Oh. And Goku had to go to Namek to wish him back with the Namek Dragon Balls because you have unlimited times you can be brought back with them.
Oh yeah.
So he died and came back like nothing.
But shit like that makes death meaningless.
Exactly. That's why you don't.
That's more of an American model where like a character dies and he'll be back in about a year.
But he was back within like a day. Goku brought him back like that.
Fuck.
It's like, oh damn, you died because of Gohan's a weak bitch. Yeah, Gohan sucks now. My God, he's a disappointment. Jeez, man, he's all about studying and working and being a house bitch. It's pathetic, and I wonder if Trunks, when now he's back from the future, because Gohan was a badass in that future. He had one arm. He was the only Z fighter left that could stand up to the androids.
Right.
And now you have this Gohan, which is skinny, wearing a tracksuit, glasses, only cares about work and conferences. Like, dude, family's important. Look at Goku. This is the thing with Goku. The guy loves to train, loves to fight. He gets shit on for being a lousy dad and a husband. Gohan, he's a great dad, I guess. He's a provider, whatever. He's very into his work.
Thing to be
he gets shit on for not training.
Not training, yeah.
So you have that 180.
Kind of, yeah.
So you can't. No one could be sasatisfied. It's one or the other.
Well, it's hard to do both, but you do have to admire a character that's going to be involved in the life of his kids and his family.
Well,
because that does come first, but that kind of gives them a starting off point, I think, in terms of storytelling.
But when you're a Saiyan and you're this race of a warrior class,
right?
Even his son Goten understands. Ma, let him go train because he's half Saiyan. Right. He has that sensation to want to train and fight too, the same as his father, but not the same because Goku's full blown. He's on another level. Goku's just something else, and same thing with Vegeta. But I think Vegeta's more of a family guy, and that he wants to show though. Right. It's on the low key. He really loves his Bulma. It's his Bulma. He almost lost his shit when Beerus slapped her. That was great. Oh man! But speaking about Americans jumping on the bandwagon, we just had Voltron, the legendary defender, come out on Netflix, and to a lot of great praise, and I've seen a couple of episodes so far. I wish I had more time to watch it.
I saw episode 1 and I loved it. And episode 1 was like an hour long, right?
Yeah, it was long. I'm looking like, damn, this is going on. It's like a movie.
Animation was tight though.
Oh, it was beautiful. Anything you expect from Japanese animation, and hats off, kudos to DreamWorks for pulling this one out of their ass and making it so good. It's like you wouldn't know it was DreamWorks that was behind this.
Well, I mean, it's I believe they hired.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They definitely hired a Japanese
It was full blown anime.
Right. Yeah,
It had a feel of Avatar: The Last Airbender. It had a feel of Gundam. It had a lot of feels. It had a feel of Sailor Moon.
You know what? Oh man, I'm so glad you brought that up. You just brought up The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
Because when I first started watching that, like, what was that, 8 fucking years ago at this point?
Yeah.
Like, I would have betted my house, well, my mom's house at the time, that was anime.
Yeah.
But that goes back to what we were just saying before about how
Americans using their style,
right? And
that's why that was so successful.
The creators of that show, like these 2 white guys,
and I was mad that it was so short too because I loved the story, I loved the characters.
I don't feel the need that these stories need to be endless. I like the fact that they had, even before they started the show, they knew when they wanted it to end, and I'm a fan of that kind of shit. You should have, the end should be near in sight. Like, it shouldn't just be, this is going to go on and on and on and on.
Yeah, I know. I guess I'm like the 11th Doctor. I don't like endings.
But the show ran a lot longer than a Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
No, and they had the sequel with...
Korra?
Yeah, which I wasn't that big on.
A lot of people liked it, though.
It had its moments.
Then I heard they made her a lesbian, and then they took off the show and put it on, the website only.
Yeah, that was the... Yeah.
But again, but all right. So I like the fact that they were not afraid to make the character, a lesbian.
Yeah, but it just Nickelodeon.
But that just shows you, like, Nickelodeon is just being a fucking pussy.
They should have put it on. Was it on Nicktoons or the original Nickelodeon channel?
I think it was the original. Yeah.
That's why. If they would have had it on Nicktoons or maybe at night, like, my problem is with a lot of these, like. World, like, look, you look at Pokemon, the new episodes, they're on 7 o'clock in the morning on Cartoon Network. Who the hell is up at fucking 7 o'clock in the morning? If kids are up at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, my God bless you.
Dude, we used to be up at 7 o'clock in the morning on a fucking Saturday.
I don't know, man. If I really wanted to watch something bad, I remember having to set my alarm clock to do that. But usually I would have sleep over that.
Listen, but that's the dedication I had, dude. Okay, so during the summer, back in, the old days, they would have G.I. Joe run on Channel 11 in the mornings. Yeah. That shit was on at like 7 a.m., bro.
I know. Like,
and I'd wake up to watch that shit. Like,
why can't they have things on at 9, 10 o'clock at night? Toonami.
You mean when kids are supposed to be asleep?
That's the best time to watch shit, bro. When you're supposed to be asleep, when you're fucking not listening what you're supposed to be doing.
What do you care? Why don't you just DVR it?
Now we can, but you know what? It's not the same as being there sitting when it comes on.
Fuck that, dude.
You know, even when I
bro.
watch wrestling or something, I can't fucking pause the TV.
Fuck that.
I don't know why. It's just I have to see it as it happens.
I need that pause button, bro. I DVR everything.
I'll just wait to.
You know why? Because I want to watch shit at my leisure, motherfucker.
I just want to be able to see my shit and then go take a shit when it's a commercial break.
Oh man.
Because I don't want to miss anything. Even though I can still rewind it.
Well, you can always take a tablet to the bathroom.
I can always just get a potty and sit down in front of the TV too.
That's true. It's like a rough. You know, I was thinking about the other day. Like, you remember like Home Improvement?
Yeah.
How he always like made like the man's bathroom. Like it was like the sickest fucking shit, dude. Like I love it. Oh man, I love that show.
Oh shit.
But yeah, man. I mean, but just reverting back to The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra. You know, I like the fact that, again, this show was created by two white guys who were clearly inspired by anime. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
But they embraced it and put it into their own work. Then they had the spin-off show, and I like the fact that, Korra, let's make her... What's wrong with that? This is the world we live in.
No,
like,
she fell in love with a girl. Hey, listen.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Let me say something. As a man speaking,
this country's so pussy sometimes.
Women are beautiful. Let me tell you, it's like moving art, much like anime. And if you're a woman and you're attracted to another beautiful woman, hey, that's great because you're admiring something that's beautiful. Like, I'm not afraid to say if I see a handsome man, to say that is a handsome man.
Why, thank you.
I wish I looked like him a little. Maybe I could get by a little better in life. Doesn't make me gay. Even that there's nothing wrong with that. Still does not make you gay.
Gay?
You should not be afraid of expressing stuff and being ridiculed about it. Like, if some guy came up to me and say, "Hey man, you look great," I'm like, "Hey, thanks," But keep it at that. Keep it going. But that's the thing. Don't be afraid to see things the way they are in life. And that's what anime is. It's not afraid to see things the way it is.
Right.
And it's a beautiful art in motion.
I think that's why it's going to continue to grow and get bigger than it is now.
It's only going to get better as technology gets better, as these ways of doing animation and the speed at which it can be done now.
Yeah.
It just shows you with Super, with Voltron. Man, both of these are so well done. But when you have a company like Netflix and DreamWorks behind a property, you could just see that it's taken to a whole nother level than just a studio in Japan doing something. And kudos, the animation's gotten better. Some people are still a fan of the old way. There's good and bad. Yes, they changed slight differences in how it looks. I prefer a non-faded look over a faded look. Beginning, I do like the other facial features from the old show compared to what's new, but you gotta take the times the way it is. And
right, I mean,
things progress. Goku should be now in the way the timeline's working, should be in his 40s, mid 40s, but being dead so much, he was dead for at least 7 years, comes back. I think being a Saiyan, they don't really age, their hair doesn't grow.
Right. And
this is a dude that has 2 kids. And he looks like he's in his 20s. And
what's crazy, though?
That's the great thing about it. Your characters continuing to go on. And I like when they don't age. Because, again, going back, I don't like endings. When I like something,
you don't like endings?
I don't like endings. When I like something, I want it to stay with me. And, that's why I'm sad that the manga's ending. I was sad when the anime ended.
Man, we're so different. It's not just a white and black thing. But I like when stories have an end.
No, I don't like that, and a lot of people don't like to see something that they've loved for years. Bleach, a big 15-year run. Yeah. And Tite
Come on, man, 15 years. That's a long time, brother. That's a long time.
Yeah. So
what do you want, another 15 years?
Just imagine when the day, if ever, the Simpsons end. It'll be like a riot in the streets, probably.
Dude, I haven't watched Simpsons since
I don't
96.
either, but that's the thing. Some people do, and they take that like an anime fan is. Right. Do you have your Simpsons fan? You have your Simpsons nut.
Listen. There's, but that's why you're a fan.
Yeah.
Short we can fanatic.
We can rewatch our favorite moments, but we're never gonna see this character evolve and his story continue. That's sad. Or her story. It's sad And
yeah, but I think I take it more as a beautiful sadness, especially if the story ends well. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
see, to me, what's worse is when these things continue on, and it just becomes a shell of what it used to be. Isn't that worse?
it can be. So they did it right with Dragon Ball. They took an 18-year hiatus.
Right.
Like, we all thought it was the end. And the worst thing they did was GT. I'm not a fan of GT. I'm sorry. If there's people that like GT,
I've never met anybody that likes GT.
GT is watered down garbage. The creator had to come back and try to salvage what they did.
Right.
They went on without Toriyama. They wanted to bank off its success, and it was just bad. They cut Vegeta's hair. They gave him a mustache. It was like he looked like he was doing a porno. It
Porn
was
stash.
terrible.
Shout out to Joey Ryan.
The only decent thing that came out of it was Super Saiyan 4, and I'm still not a real big fan of that. But that all got retconned anyway because that never happened, guys. So we have Super. Be happy that we still have Dragon Ball. We still have Goku. We have Vegeta, and Vegeta's not just Goku's second. It could be Vegeta's just as powerful, and he can be even more powerful. And I'm glad that they're letting him evolve more, because Vegeta, growing up when he was fighting Frieza, when it was the Frieza saga, the Cell saga, he's come a long way from a little boy being the Prince of Saiyans, and now he's one of the most powerful fighters in the universe alongside Goku. It's great to see that he doesn't have to be as frustrated as he was in the past. He's still a
very bitter individual.
He knows that he's as strong as Goku, but he knows Goku's still stronger because he still has, Kaioken up his sleeve, and God knows what other secrets Goku has, because he really doesn't share his secrets when it comes to training. But he won't hold back when he's fighting you, when he's excited.
I think it's cool that this is like I always think about how the American comic book industry is always trying to replicate the success of the past from characters like Superman and Batman and that kind of stuff. And what I find interesting is, like, they'll spend a lot of money trying to recreate that kind of success, even sometimes trying to create new characters. A lot of times it doesn't take off. And then you look at something like when anime really came along and really came strong. They were able, because it's not easy to create a new property and have it become like this big tentpole thing. No. Like Star Wars is probably the biggest property on the planet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it spans into other medias. You have the movies,
the books.
Then you have the books. You have the comics. You have the animations.
The merchandising.
You have the Lego. Toys. They have Lego shows. Yeah. They have the CGI shows. Right. You got Star Wars Rebels. Right. Now you got the Freemakers Lego show. Right. So, and then you had, before they scrapped it, the Disney Infinity.
Right.
I don't know why they scrapped it. It was cool,
but the point is that it's able to go cross-platform, all these other mediums, but it's like...
And this is something that came out in the 70s.
77, I believe.
Yeah,
but that's
people
amazing.
Now, our generation and younger, know of it and love it.
But to me, that's the same kind of thing that, Dragon Ball Z was able to do in a way on
it's because they're building upon an already established franchise, but introducing a new story with new characters. There's a lot of new characters that they made.
But not just off the spin-off. I mean, not just on the continuation of the series. I mean, but I mean just in terms of like when the show's created and the longevity that it's been able to have. Like that's the tough thing for a lot of creations.
The great thing,
a lot of them don't have. They can't have that same longevity. But it's amazing that Bleach has been on for as long as it has. Dragon Ball Z has been on as long as it has. It's amazing to me.
The thing is, that's why they have manga. They have their comic. Right. They see how well received that is. They turn it into an anime. Because anime is huge. So they have a great following behind the manga. Like, okay, we're going to adapt our manga into this anime, and we're going to keep it, hopefully, the same.
Right.
And people are going to love it, because who wouldn't want to see their favorite story in animation, man? Come on. It's a beautiful thing seeing the pages become life.
And also,
and hearing the voices that you pictured in your head reading, and then the cast that they have. That wow, this voice just fits perfect. Wow, now I can really put that voice to that picture in my head, and you just continue to think about it, and that's what makes you fall in love with this shit. Right. I'm telling you, it's a never-ending cycle of.
Hey, like I said, I'm gonna have a good time going on this journey because you know, like I said, I've always kind of dipped my toe in the pool of anime, but never really took the full dive. Dude, let me tell you something. All right, so you know, starting off with this show, we were kind of talking about how, you know, Dragon Ball Z was kind of like the gateway for a lot of people. Do you remember when the Sci-Fi Channel was like one of the few outlets that was actually broadcasting, like, you know, the anime movies and things like that?
Yeah.
You remember
that was like the Outcast channel on cable television.
Do you remember like every summer in the late 90s, they would have that entire week dedicated to anime?
Yeah. Remember G4?
Yeah.
That's where Olivia Moon come from.
Yeah.
You know, gamer and anime fan.
Right.
You know, that
was way before G4 came along.
Yeah. So this is the things that we talk about. We have.
But like, you know, we always talk about Toonami, but think about the contributions that Sci-Fi Channel gave to anime.
That's right, because other than in the past, Channel 11, the Spanish station, when I needed my fix, the Spanish station had the new episodes of Dragon Ball Z before the damn fucking English. Yeah. I couldn't believe that shit. So I'm watching the Garlic Jr. saga in Spanish because I wanted to see the episodes sooner than later.
I remember people talking about it.
And that's another fucking problem with the American studios. It takes too long for them to bring this shit over here. If you already own the rights to something, and there shouldn't be a problem for you to have the simultaneous animation just to dub it and have it. I can see maybe 6 months difference to get you to dub the episodes and give you that much time. But a year or two, come on, give me a break. It doesn't take that long to get that shit together. I know it's all politics, it's all red tape, but if Japan wants to make money, because that's why they brought Dragon Ball back, because they were hurting financially, and they know how to make a buck, and that's to bank on Goku. And dude, if you go into in Tokyo's airport, you're greeted by a fucking mural of Dragon Ball Z and Goku.
That's fucking sick.
That's
really sick.
Like, they're like, hey, welcome to fucking Tokyo, baby. We are the money makers here.
That's
and
sick. Yeah,
Japan knows what's up. So America needs to know the deal too. You want to make money, get the stuff over here quicker. Have the DVDs released quicker, because you have these sites that stream raw content and they just sub it, and that's kind of hurting the industry. Even though a lot of people go on those sites, you know, because they don't want to wait. They want to see things as they come out.
But not us. We do everything legally.
Of course, we support Crunchyroll, and we, you know, all for supporting the industry, because if the industry suffers, there's going to be no anime. So you got to think about that. I'm there with you. I love to get my fix. I want to see it as fast as I can. I want to see it yesterday. That's how fast I want it.
Yeah.
But you got to think about the industry. If you're going to hurt the industry by bootlegging, by scanning manga and translating and putting it on and doing these things,
well, they won't be able to afford to produce new. Yeah,
they don't have the money to do the production. So you got to think, do you want to hurt the industry, or do you want to help support it? Right. So, you know, do your part. If you can afford Crunchyroll, you know, pay for this subscription. You can see your anime without ads, and it's as it comes out in Japan. So whatever you're a fan of, I'm sure you'll find it on there. Yeah. I don't know if Dragon Ball's on there. I doubt it, because of Funimation.
Hulu's been adding a lot more.
Hulu has it.
I think. Listen, I think. They're gonna find a solution to that problem that you're talking about right now. I think
I'm sure
one of the major, I think most likely they'll have an acquisition deal with Hulu, more so than Netflix. I think right now Netflix is at the point where they want to produce more of their own content.
Yeah.
Because if you notice, you know, like before it was just about, okay, we're gonna just, you know, acquire a show that was on a previous network. Now there's Netflix exclusives. Hulu's doing the same thing, but Hulu is still trying to acquire I mean, Hulu's also bringing shows from like Australia,
Yeah,
and other countries, France and other places like that. So I could see them trying to striking a deal with Hulu.
yeah.
You know?
But Netflix, I think, has the recipe right now that we're going. You had Daredevil, you had Jessica Jones. We're getting Luke Cage. You have all these Netflix original shows that so well done, so well produced, and the way they took care of Voltron. I was like, if you love the old Voltron, and you're a huge anime fan, you would appreciate this. And
You know what's funny? Like, so after I watched the first episode of Voltron, I looked up the original episode on the original series, the first episode of the original series on YouTube, and I was like, God, this shit is terrible. But the new fucking show is amazing.
Like, now, to give you a reference with that, if we watch the new Ninja Turtles, when they're in the LA and they're watching that mock of Voltron on the cassette tapes,
Yeah.
that's how they're making fun of Voltron with the blah, 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 Captain, blah, how the voices don't match the mouths and all that stuff, and how cheesy it was, and that was their homage, I guess, to Voltron and anime. Yeah. But that's how it was. It was cheesy then, and it's wow. It's like, this is the anime, the way that show should have been then, because other animes are not like how they produced it. If you look at Gundam and Gundam Wing, kind of like the same thing. You have this powerful robot fighting machine. It was so much the opposite of what Voltron was back then. And yeah, let's not knock Voltron in the past, because it was a quintessential anime, and it paved the way for shows like Gundam.
Right.
But how Gundam was done was excellent. That was done in the early 90s.
I gotta be honest, I was always kind of bored by Gundam Wing.
Ah, man. Hiro Yui, man, he was the man.
Like there was different iterations of that anime.
There's a lot of, it was Gundam Wing. Joe Diablo would know more.
Oh, dude, Joe Diablo is the one that put me on to Gundam Wing. And he gave me, I remember back in like 2000, he gave me one of the like Gundam Wing movies that they did.
Yeah. That
one was actually pretty good from what I remember. But in terms of like the regular series that was broadcasted on Toonami, it was kind of okay.
Because it had that dark message to it, and that politicalness. It was something that, I don't know, really maybe wasn't. It was ahead of its time in a way, like Cowboy Bebop, and maybe not for the age dynamic that it was being shown for.
I connected instantly with Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
I was like, at first I was like, I don't know about this drawing style, and then like I really gave the show a chance. I was like, this show is fucking.
It's different.
You know what? And as someone who has spent his life collecting comic books and really just investing himself in that world, I don't even really buy Marvel and DC stuff anymore. I buy Valiant stuff. There's also some IDW stuff that I buy. There's a lot of independent creators that are published through Image Comics now that I feel like that generation of creators that are outside the big two are doing a lot of interesting things right now.
Yeah.
Even when we look at a book like Saga. Saga is a great book, man.
Yeah.
Written by Brian K. Vaughan. That is a great book. Great book. And it just explores new ideas. And unfortunately, these large companies like Marvel, DC, not to knock them, but they really are afraid of embracing new ideas. They really don't know how to go about creating new characters other than making a hand-me-down of an existing characters. And that's not fun for me. I want to see something new. I want to see something different.
You could still have Iron Man. You can still have Captain America.
Right.
Like, they brought Thor back. Now he's called Unworthy Thor, and he's having his own ongoing. So
Unworthy?
On the Unworthy Thor. That is the title, because it used to be the Mighty Thor, but now it's Jane doing it. She's the Thor of the Marvel Universe. So Thor, Odin's son, is looking for a new hammer, and it's the Ultimate Universe's hammer, the one that looks like the axe, but it's the hammer.
Yeah.
So, but he has the short hair now. He has the beard. So they're trying to make him look, Hemsworthy.
Yeah.
Get it with the worthy in there? Yeah. No pun intended, right? It's that's the thing. They like, okay, so now we're gonna have. You still have Thor, be happy, but he's looking for the other universe's Thor's power. So we're gonna have two Thors probably.
Right.
we have the female one and we have the male one, because Thor's movie's coming back next year, Ragnarok.
I've already lost interest. I'm like this, but this is what I'm talking about. That shit does not interest me at all.
But this is the thing,
Like,
you don't see this in anime. You don't see that
like,
shit.
And I don't want to see those kind of things.
We don't have, like, people say, yeah, we had an evil Goku before. No, that was a different guy. When the movie Tree of Might, that wasn't. Yeah. That was someone that looked like him. He was a Saiyan, but he had Goku's appearance. What's going on right now? This is some good shit that's going on. You should appreciate the storytelling, because there's a lot of elements that's going in, and these are new things that are happening into a show that's 30 years running. Yeah. So let's just think about that we have something to look forward to that's actually creating something new. Even though it looks like Goku, it's not. It might be his body that was dead. Right. So how cool is that? That's kind of like an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where Hive took over Grant Ward's dead body. You got this being that's inhabiting Goku's dead body from the future in an alternate timeline, fighting, and he has one of the Patara earrings that could potentially be a fusion coming up. Right. And everyone's speculating that we're going to see Vegito and the Super Saiyan God. I know everybody would orgasm over that, and that's probably something that maybe come down the line, because you see the Supreme Kai and Kibito got unfused because they used the Namek Dragon Balls. So there's a potential fusion opportunity, if need be, for Goku and Vegeta to fuse and become Vegito. And they can always unfuse with the Namek Dragon Balls. So, hey, man, I'm glad that they wrote in loopholes to the story, because I don't think Goku and Vegeta want to be fused. I don't think Bulma and Chi-Chi would like it, but I think Vegeta would like sharing them too. So this is what's great and what's original about anime and Japanese animation in a whole. They're not afraid to take a risk. They're not afraid to change something, even though it's blatant, but not make it that it's disrespectful and insulting to your intelligence, the way that American studios and production companies do to us, the people that pay, that support them, and they just shit right in our face. Like, you know what? We're going to have a new character. Not really, but, you know, how you doing, you know? Yeah. So that's kind of how I feel. Like, what are you going to do about it? You know, you're not going to stop. You're going to keep reading. No, we're going to... I really not going to read it.
Well, and that's why sales are low. So
exactly, and that's why manga sales are high, and anime is extremely popular. So, in closing, I hope everyone enjoyed this first episode of the anime aspect.
The inaugural episode.
The inaugural, the superior, the first of its kind. And I know there's other shows out there, but we're going to try to keep it real and just give you our perspective. And, you know, Brave Dave and I's perspective is usually very fresh and unique. So I hope you all continue to stay with us as our journey continues.
Yep.
And let's see if Brave Dave dips his toe more into anime on the next episode of the Anime Aspect. Thank you so much. Again, I am Matt Swagger, and with me, Brave Dave. Hope to see you next time. Thanks, everybody. My otakus.